not used to seeing him score this sort of amount of goals, though, because today he had 3. In 75 appearances prior to that, he had 3 as well. So he matched that in just one half of football, which was so impressive. Like you said, without Kylian Mbappe, has it changed your perspective now with Valverde and the way that Real Madrid pressed and performed today on how far they'll go in this season's Champions League? Because we've all sat here and thought, Real Madrid really don't look at their best this season. I
don't know. I thought that, and we said this the first season that Mbappe was there. Real Madrid, there's phases of play when Mbappe's not there that they actually look better without Mbappe. I don't want to be a meme later that the team plays better without Mbappe, but there is large phases and there's a lot of sort of evidence that shows that when the team is down and the chips are down a little bit, they don't have Mbappe. The other players come to life, and then they become less one-dimensional, because I think a lot of the times, even Vinny, to a certain extent, has had to take a backseat to Mbappe. It's like, get Mbappe, feed Mbappe, get Mbappe's the guy. Now it's like today, you didn't really know where it was going to come from. And I'm pretty sure that, Man City probably thought, okay, Vinny's the guy tonight. We got to be careful from him. And then Valverde just shows up. And the goals that he scores, the quality is just, you know how many goals you scored and some of the quality goals. Those goals are not easy. The first one's phenomenal, the first touch. The second one is even better with the touch that he touches the first one, it's off the half bounce, not easy to do. Then he finishes it off the half bounce with his left foot. And then the third goal speaks for itself. So the quality that they have in the team is incredible. When they don't have Mbappe there and they could come from different directions, sometimes I think that could be harder to play against.
Also, I think as well, we've had chats with like Guillem, and obviously we're going to speak to him a little bit later on, but when you think to 15-time Champions League winners, they're used to winning Champions League nights. He said it last time out, that when the music hits, it just feels like a different night. I don't think we've learned much from this Real Madrid team. We know they have quality. We know they can be better than they have been. Today it all clicked. We don't know, can they stick that together consistently? Because we haven't seen that for a large part of this year. So I don't think we learned a great deal, but when they are on like they are at the moment, you have to say, wow, that's fantastic.
Do you agree with Grell, though, that they are a different looking team without Mbappe, and maybe it's not as bad without him as what maybe it looks like on paper?
No, I agree with his point. Clearly, any team with Mbappe is better, right? He's quick, he's dynamic, scores a load of goals. I think what Grell is saying is, now you, as a game plan, as a coach, you're thinking, normally it's right, stop the spacing behind because we don't want to get Mbappe there. Now you think, oh, there's a chance. I think that's why they started cruising off at right back with the pace, thinking you deal with Vinicius Jr., the rest of us can be over it. Man City got passed through the line so well today. And this guy was at the heart of everything. Haaland again, another tough night for him. But I think this is one of those nights where Pep has to look at himself. I think, I've said it for the last 4 or 5 weeks, you take Nico O'Reilly out of the midfield and Rodri just looks lost. This guy was a beast at the bat tonight as well for Real Madrid. Courtois had a fantastic game. In moments like this, you need your top players to come to the surface. Every single one for Real Madrid did. 3 or 4 for Man City came to the play today.
Here is just a poll, by the way. We are live on YouTube, so make sure you send in any questions that you've got for us. We'll answer them. Valverde had the... Hello, Nige. Welcome in. Just in time for the poll. Valverde had the best individual first-half performance in Champions League history. What do you think, Nige? Do you agree with that?
1,000%. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That was a world-class performance in 45 minutes. His third goal was just... top. He's probably one of the most underappreciated Real Madrid players in the history of the club. I've always been a big Federico Valverde fan, massive fan of him in what he does. He's played different positions for the club. He's played right back. He's played all over the place. That was a world-class performance by that young man there. And this is a Real Madrid side facing the Manchester City, where most people heavily favoured Manchester City to get the job done. City started well in the first 5-10 minutes, couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. But the way Real Madrid grew into that game, without an Mbappe, without Jude Bellingham, without Rodrigo, without even Carreras, the full-back as well, so many injuries, and then they're putting an 18-year-old in the midfield today, and to get that result and the performance by Valverde, a captain, a leader, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
3 shots, 3 goals. How many times do we watch the best strikers in the world? They need 10 chances, they need 7 chances, they need 8 chances, and you say at the end of the game, oh, this team played so well, but they didn't take their chances. 3 shots, 3 goals. That's hard to play against. Yep, okay. Does Man City have the most disjointed press I've ever seen? Do they get beat with 1 ball? Does the back line look like it's all over the place? And the midfield as well, all over the place at times? For sure. That doesn't mean, though, that when you take 3 shots, you're going to score 3 goals. The efficiency of Valverde today killed the tie. Because we could still be talking, oh, Man City had some moments or whatever.
Do you think the tie's over?
Yeah, for sure.
Really?
No, I wouldn't say the tie's over. I don't think the tie's over. I mean, listen, just for me on Valverde, I would say for people to show me a better all-round versatile player that can do everything in the world right now than Federico Valverde, and I'll tell you a line. There is no better player in the world.
Would you have said that, though, before tonight's performance?
I was always a big fan of him. I think for me right now, when I look at top players in the world game right now, he is one of them, and also is Vitinha. The difference is because he's at Real Madrid, with the pressure that comes at Real Madrid in the season that they're having, they're not top of La Liga, they don't look great, they haven't been great. There's a lot of questions still about this Real Madrid side, but you talk about big games, big moments. This is when it counts. And I want to give credit to Real Madrid because we always talk and we sit here, we talk about different clubs, we talk about Arsenal and all these clubs who say style of play. And I've said it here before with you guys. I want someone to tell me what the style of play at Real Madrid is. It's called winning. And that's what they did today. And sometimes you can go long. And that's how they got their goals against Manchester City. Old school, Route 1 football, long balls, and they got it. And at the end of the day, we're glorifying Real Madrid for the performances they had because of just winning a football match. It wasn't about patterns of play and pass, individual brilliance, and this guy was the star of the show today.
Here's the poll, by the way, on just a question we were talking about. Is this the best performance in Champions League history? 62% of you say yes, 38% of you say no. It'll be interesting to know what other performances are in the mix.
I would say Stevie Gerrard, captain's performance against that Milan side in the Champions League final. To get them back to win the Champions League trophy. That might be later on
in the show. We've got a couple of them to show you. Just by the way, on Manchester City, Grella was saying the tie is over. Troy, how do you feel about it? Because some might say tonight was one of the best performances from Real Madrid of the season, and on the other side of that, one of the worst by Manchester City. Yeah,
it was inconsistent. Look, I already know how the internet's going to act on this, so I think we are allowed to say Pep Guardiola got the team selection wrong today. In hindsight, 100%. We're allowed to say that.
That's fair.
I think when you look at Nico O'Reilly being in midfield with Rodri has been fantastic. Ballon d'Or winner. Hasn't looked the same physically since he's come back from his injury. And I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because he didn't have a pre-season. So we need someone with legs and energy next to him. You've got Aït-Nouri's coming to his own at left back. He's sat on the bench. You've got Kushunov. Again, don't know the guy, but haven't seen him have a game yet where I go, oh, that's why they bought him. He was at right back. Nunez was on the bench. You've got Ryan Shirky, who for me, in moments like that, he gets bigger, he gets bright. He says, give me the ball, don't worry, I'll take care of it. You started Savinho, who hasn't really played all season. But Pep Guardiola does this every now and again where it's kind of like he tries to give guys in a massive game, I trust you, go and perform. But they're not in rhythm. They haven't played in a while. And Doku and Savinho, Doku was okay, but again, no real quality end product. Erling Haaland, if we're being totally honest, wasn't great as well today. But I think Haaland needs the service of a Shirky behind him to dictate what's happening.
He was outstanding tonight, and Guillem Balague was in Madrid watching him live. Guillem, was he really the star of the show tonight, the biggest headline for you aside from Real Madrid's big win?
It was just incredible, but let me just tell you that sometimes something happens here, and it's so difficult to explain. I've seen people crying at halftime, Real Madrid fans, and shouting, did you see what just happened? It's a miracle, it's a miracle. It's like they've seen somebody just flying, and it feels like that because, of course, Manchester City came in a better form. Real Madrid had 7 players missing, and for everything to happen in the Madrid way, a lot of accidents had to take place, and a lot of good things from Real Madrid had to be done. But that's exactly what took place at the Bernabeu. Donnarumma, why didn't he stretch and touch the ball? Did he think he was the foot? Did he think he was outside the box? First goal goes in. And then after that, the Manchester City players, and this is admitted by Bernardo Silva when I spoke to him earlier, the minds went. Because it's the Bernabeu. And then somebody who's never scored a hat-trick scores 3 goals in 45 minutes. Somebody that cost only 4 million euros in Valverde. Who wasn't Valverde? It was Del Piero, Van Basten, Bergkamp. It was incredible. And then on top of that, of course, Manchester City, with everything they had prepared, did not create enough. And in the second half, it was, of course, relatively easy for Real Madrid to do what they do even more, defending their own box and wait for time to go. But it's just incredible. Something happens. Again, Rubén Diaz and Bernardo Silva said it. it's just the shirt, the white shirt. It's just the stadium. It's just that they play with an extra electricity and belief and faith that they can do this, including an 18-year-old who's just recently made his debut with Real Madrid, like Thiago Pitarch.
Again, we were talking a little bit earlier about this Real Madrid team without Mbappe at times is actually harder to prepare for because it feels like the goals can come from everywhere. They attack in different variations. Is that a fair assessment? Obviously, you watch them more than us, but with Mbappe, does he sometimes make them a little bit too one-dimensional? By the way, he's fantastic. We all know that. But you're just not having him there. Does it make it harder for teams? And do Real Madrid come together a little bit better without him?
Let's not forget that they lost against Osasuna and Getafe.
Yeah, that's
so. This is the same Real Madrid. And when Mbappe is on the pitch, or when he has been on the pitch since December, he wasn't fit. He wanted to play until the end of the year because he wanted to equal or better the record of Cristiano Ronaldo of goals in 1 year, and he equaled that, including playing in a cup game against a third division side. Hurt his injury even longer, so you haven't seen the best Mbappe. But by the way, to get the best Mbappe, you need somebody, hopefully Arbeloa for long enough, he's got a year and a half left in his contract, to actually get the best of the team, to get the best of Mbappe. And so far, in the 15 games that he's been in charge, with 4 defeats, by the way, but in that period, he hasn't had the best team, if you like. There's been injuries, players out of form, players too comfortable. So Xabi Alonso got them out of comfort zone. Arbeloa said, okay, now let's do the things that you like to do, and they were comfortable. They need to be pushed on, but he hasn't really had time to create anything with this team. They are in survival mood, and then Champions League comes, as I always say, they taller and broader and handsomer when the Champions League music comes on, and there's no way to explain that logically, but it happens. They are outliers. They won it 15 times, and clearly it's for a magical reason sometimes.
Guillem, we know about the aura of Real Madrid in Champions League night, and going into this game, what was the feeling like in Madrid, obviously leading into the game? Did they really feel that they could get this result against Manchester City?
I had a little chat with Arbeloa that did not go on camera, and he was like, I'm never ever gonna doubt you ever again. I said jokingly, we know for a long time, and he was saying, no, please doubt me because I'm gonna get it wrong. And what happened today was like, oh my God. So that was the feeling that, yes, of course, he was saying the right things in the press conference with Real Madrid. We're not inferior to anybody. This is Santiago Bernabeu. This is the Champions League, blah, blah, blah. But the feeling was, and in the first 19 minutes, City were clearly superior and the game was going their way. It's just that as outliers that they are, all of a sudden an individual creates chaos or something, a move that takes the game in a completely different direction. Real Madrid buy the best players around of each team for a reason. That is the reason. They may not be the best at creating a team, but when it matters, they just race to the occasion. And of course, I'm pretty sure they started smelling blood when they sensed that Manchester City, after the first goal, their heads were gone. And Bernardo Silva was saying that they haven't controlled our emotions. Oh, you do that at the Bernabeu. And Real Madrid is like, whoa, let's go for it. And of course, 2 more goals came.
Guillem, just quickly, Man City have a chance in this tie or it's over?
No, this is Manchester City. Pep Guardiola will have something up his sleeve. And especially this tie has given us a lot of surprises. Not over. So I'll see you in Manchester.